New York Attorney General Letitia James started a civil suit against Trump. Here he is in deposition, pleading the fifth repeatedly. This is a video from the AP.
Is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? I was asking that question. Now I know the answer to that question. When your family, your company, and all the people in your orbit have become the targets of an unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt supported by lawyers, prosecutors, and even the fake news media.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if one of the people he was teasing for taking the fifth had given that as an answer? It's an unfounded, politically motivated investigation. Incidentally, it happens to be true most of the time when Republicans are doing it. Oh, this guy's so two-faced. And the people that think he's anything other than a con artist are just deluded.
You really have no choice. Anyone in my position not taking the Fifth Amendment would be a fool, an absolute fool. Accordingly, under the advice of my counsel and for all of the above reasons, I respectfully decline to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. This will be my answer to any further questions.
So the 2020 Statement of Financial Condition contained false and misleading valuations and statements. Is that correct?
Same answer.
You knew at the time it was finalized that the 2020 Statement of Financial Condition contained false and misleading statements. Is that correct?
Same answer.
Remember, this is a civil case. Him pleading the fifth here can be used against him in the judgment for this case. It can't in a criminal case. So why plead the fifth in this case? Because he's more afraid of criminal charges, and he's not afraid of losing some money in this. In other words, the operation he's using can consider this the operation he was running that appears to have been illegal, that generated millions and millions of dollars. It can afford to take that hit. He can throw this case. In other words, trying to regulate these people with civil suits it's nonsense. It does not work. It only works if this is taken to a criminal court, which is where we need to get this guy.
In preparing the 2020 Statement of Financial Condition, Alan Weisselberg, Jeff McConney, and others worked at your direction and followed your instructions to inflate asset valuations on the Statement of Financial Condition by employing false or misleading assumptions. Is that correct?
Same answer.
Is that your signature on page 2?
Same answer.
With regards to your old post office property, is it correct that through the use of the inflated statement...
Let me see his eyes go up again at that. Looky there. Remember the old post office property? Kind of curious what happened there. A Miami-based group that does business internationally bought it for way too much money. There's a lot of speculation around how they even intend to make a profit with how much they bought it for. I wonder why they did that. Incidentally, Trump was about to lose his shirt on that property. And I find it interesting as he snaps to attention when he's asked about it, and then goes back to not giving a damn when it's a nonsense question, or not a nonsense question, but doesn't involve fraud. The word Russian doesn't come up at all.
With regards to your old post office property, is it correct that through the use of the inflated Statement of Financial Condition to obtain a favorable interest rate, you were able to save at least 5% per annum in interest payments on the construction loan of up to $170 million from Deutsche Bank?
Same answer.
Is it correct that absent the $170 million construction loan from Deutsche Bank, you would not have obtained the ground lease on the old post office property or been able to provide the renovation to the property that occurred?
Same answer.
That loan that he took, he should have lost big on all of that. I would love for further investigations to peel back a little bit more on that. Let's look at what CNN was saying about it in an online article. A video of the August deposition of the New York Attorney General's office took a video of the deposition the New York Attorney General's office took of former President Donald Trump, in which Trump invoked the Fifth Amendment and declined to answer questions, was released on 2 for Tuesday. Anyone in my position not taking the Fifth Amendment would be a fool, an absolute fool. Well, we got to agree there. You do appear to be very guilty. Trump was deposed as part of New York Attorney General Letitia James's civil investigation into the Trump Organization's business practices, which culminated in a lawsuit filed by James in September against Trump, some of his children, and executives of his business. It does continue. Let's have a gander. Trump read a lengthy statement calling James's investigation the greatest witch hunt in the history of our country. He said that he would be asserting his constitutional rights to not answer questions about the deposition. Remember, civil lawsuit. Him pleading the Fifth can be used against him. Ought to be used against him. In deciding that case, he cares less about the money. For Trump, for any big corporation that knows, for Trump and Trump Org, and then for any big corporation, for any billionaire, for any rich person who is unduly rich in this country, they know that getting a civil suit's just the cost of doing business. They have no shame about pleading the Fifth in these things, and they don't mind losing them as long as they write their check, which is less than the profits they made doing the illegal thing. Then they go about their business, knowing damn well there's not going to be any real legal consequences against them. Till recently, at the very least, Weisselberg's and Rikers, it's a start. His rambling opening statement ran through accusations James was investigating him for political reasons and included swipes at Michael Cohen, the former Trump lawyer whose congressional testimony about his business practices that started the Attorney General's probe. He also referenced the FBI's search of his Mar-a-Lago home, which occurred 2 days before the August 10 deposition. What a wacko. So what can we do about this? Real simple. Keep putting pressure on Merrick Garland, and as we have seen, our state attorney generals are more reliable than Merrick Garland. So there's the Department of Justice contact link in the description. Take advantage of it. Tell him for any of the plethora of crimes Trump appears to have done, you would like to hear that charges are forthcoming. If you live in one of the states that had fake electors that did not, let's see if I can get that up there, that have yet to open investigations into it, that includes Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, contact your attorney general. Link is very much in the description. Contact them and say, Merrick Garland hasn't protected democracy. We've already had an election go by with fake electors on the ballot. Some of them got elected again. These are traitors. I want you, my state's attorney general, to take action. Open a state investigation into the fake elector case. Getting this man in front of a judge is priority number one. A real judge in criminal court. Priority number one. This civil litigation nonsense, its only value, its only real value, is in what he accidentally says under oath. And he knows that. So he's pleading the Fifth because he can afford to lose a civil suit. Don't rely on that. Force him to pay for all of his crimes, just like anybody else would have to. Anybody else would have to. It is time to live in a country where the law is justly applied, where it is fairly applied.